So here are some of the techniques used by coaches to help improve a player's performance. So starting off with demonstration. So demonstration can be used in many different ways for many different people as well. So such as younger children, it may work very well. So shown in the picture, you can see how the coaches are acting out how they need to do, so they have a visual image for the players to copy, which is very effective because it means that it prevents mistakes made because they have a picture exactly of what they need to look like, so they can work upon themselves to get to this final situation. This does have some downsides, however, such as if the demonstration is incorrect or shown in a way which isn't quite what needed, the players may then take on this role and start acting in that way. The idea of a demonstration is also difficult for coaches who may not specify in that certain area. So as a PE teacher, they may be working on sports that they don't themselves know very well. And this then can mean for demonstrations not to show the technique correctly. A demonstration can be really effective if there's a few points kind of given during the demonstration. So maybe told to watch your feet whilst you're demonstrating, so they know where specifically the feet are. However, if it goes over more kind of 3 or 4 teaching points, it makes it hard for demonstration because it's watching way too many things happen at once. If the participants understand what's being shown, it is a very effective method of improving technique because they can visualize it and then themselves carry out the technique. So there's different ways of doing this, so showing the technique from different angles by over exaggerating these techniques, and this can just overall give a better demonstration, like better communication between player and a coach than things such as instructions, because instructions you can understand, however there's many different ways you can misinterpret instructions compared to a demonstration which you are seeing and are following what's going on. It is also very helpful in situations such as with swimmers. So when in a high volume area such as inside in an inside swimming pool, it makes it very difficult for instructions to be heard. So by giving demonstrations of what needs to be done can be really effective in ways like this. Another way it's really effective is with kind of small groups. You can get them to shadow what you're doing. So having you show the technique such as a tennis serve in front of them, and having the players behind you doing the same, and then they know where they're aiming for. So another technique is technical instruction. So this is really good for explaining what you want and why, and it works well with a demonstration. So sometimes instructions on their own give a picture but not clear enough so they can reenact it. So by having this with a demonstration, it means that the two can be paired together. They can see what it needs to happen, they understand why and what, and they just need to carry it out themselves. So this is a clear and concise way that may not suit everyone, such as visual learners. They may not find this the easiest way to understand, but it's not great for beginners on their own. So if someone is new to a sport, such as they're new to playing netball, they may need a demonstration of what you mean by taking 2 steps and making sure your feet are going 1, 2 and hitting the floor, and so to prevent you from making footwork, which someone who may have played a couple of times before may understand what you mean by the kind of terms you use. However, a beginner who's never played before may need this demonstration to understand what is meant by it. Instructions are really good though and effective because you can repeat these so many times, explaining what you mean, and also changing it into other ways. So explaining something in one version, and then if they don't understand, you can try again in a different way. Again, 2 or 3 coaching points is best in instructions, so especially younger children, giving them 2 or 3 things to remember, so such as tennis serve, remember feet, where your knees are and where your arms are, for example. However, with things like this, you do need full attention of the participants, because if they're not listening, they may miss parts. They may miss parts or miss key parts of information, especially. Apart from having the instructions as beneficial for people who like to listen to things and understand, it's also helpful for elite players. So shown in this picture here, this is a manager explaining whilst on the pitch to the player what needs to happen. So in this kind of situation, there is not time to demonstrate what needs to happen. There is only time to explain it, and in that high pressure situation, for them to take on this instruction and deal with it. This is a much easier technique for some people than a demonstration, because they understand why. And having that purpose can be really beneficial to some people. Another technique is observational analysis. So this is a really tangible way of improving performance. So a coach can, say, watch a game. So here with the football game, you can see where they have been on the pitch and which way they are passing. So there are different ways of doing this. There could be a coach who monitors every player, so this could be filmed to start with, so they can still pay attention to the game. So it could be filmed and have every player analysed to see where they were going, what they were doing, how many times they got the ball, and it gives statistics. So this gets rid of any bias, because it's taken upon all statistics, and it helps to show you what they're doing well. The only another downside to this technique is that you can't see why or how they did this badly. So if it shows that they only received the ball once in a game, you can see this is not a good thing. However, it doesn't tell you context. So it doesn't tell you the fact that they had a really, really strong player who marked them the whole time and they didn't have the opportunity to get the ball. But it does make it easy to compare to other players. So you can, if picking the team, you can see which players work best in which situation, and therefore move them to make sure they are playing in that position to help best suit the team. This is a very time-consuming activity, though, because of the fact that every part and every piece of information needs to be analysed to make it useful to then compare to other people. This can also be useful for other teams. So for opposition, you can work out how well they're doing, which players are doing well recently, and then use this information to put where your players are going to be. This can be done in 3 different forms. So video analysis, so having this kind of live note-taking of what's happening after the event. Have live analysis, so as something good happens, it is marked, or a bad pass or something like that. And also objective and subjective, so dependent on if it is factual or not. So another version of observational analysis is this picture at the top, where you can see an individual player bowling for a cricket match, and you can see here the dots where they've had put on every muscle, so you can really see what's going on and the kind of technique behind it. And say if the player's having a bad time and things aren't quite going well, this technique can be used to actually really work out what's going wrong, why things are starting to misshape. The only another downside to this is the fact that you need to know what's happening. So the context is really important, because this technique does show you what but not how and why. Also the fact that it's an expensive software, so this is not an easy way to analyse for such as a club, because they might not have the funding. So this is why it might suit kind of an elite athlete more so. One of the really good plus sides of this is it can be reused again. So such as this football game, you could do this 1 year and then the year after, playing the same team again, you could use the technique again and see how the opposition have changed, how the players themselves have changed, and this can really help improve performance overall, because they can see have they got better at doing certain things. And also it could be repeated, so working out what the mistake was, trying to fix it for a few weeks, and then going back and seeing if the technique has changed and therefore the outcome has become better. So overall, there's different ways of improving technique. These three show two kind of different ways of explaining things, and one of working out why things are happening and then helping to improve, which all therefore help to increase technique overall, because you have to work out what is wrong and also then be able to explain.